Hey everybody, we're outside today. So what we got going on, we got the auto tanner out here. We have rehydrated some hides. I decided to put the auto tanner outside for today because it's a nice day out, and we're gonna try to clean the floor up in the shop a little bit. So I needed to move some equipment out here anyway today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and we rehydrated some hides last night. I got them just a little bit off to the side here. I'm gonna put them in. We're gonna dump a little bit of Rehydrate in with them. We are not gonna pressurize this tank at this point, not during Rehydrate. I don't normally do. So, but I'm gonna show you guys. I'm just gonna throw some hides that stayed a little bit stiff. These were all trapper dried. One of them I think was salt dried, so let's check it out. So these deer hides here, they were salt dried. They were scraped off. They are still a little bit hard in some of these spots here, especially on the edges. So we're just gonna throw them in. We're gonna soften them up today. I have looks like maybe another bigger piece here. This piece here, they came in and these pieces were actually folded, these deer hides were. So I think that's part of the reason why they didn't rehydrate as quickly. So we got this raccoon here. He was really greasy. He did not rehydrate well. You can see these beaver hides here. They are extremely greasy. They also did not rehydrate well. So a lot of them are going to be the beaver pieces. Here's another one. It was folded, greasy. This one here was scraped really, really well, trapper dried, but it has got some really hard spots in it still. So we're gonna get them out of there today. More raccoons up there on the neck area of these raccoons. It's just still extremely hard. So like I said, they were trapper dried, not salt dried, and they just for some reason, and I think the salt drying rehydrates really well. Trapper drying does not rehydrate as well. It's just something to do with the grease maybe, I don't know. Another raccoon, another beaver. Like I said, some of these were kind of poorly scraped. I think that's what repelled. Of course, all that grease is going to repel the water. Rehydrate getting in there. Basically on these auto tanners, if you can fit it in there, it'll run it. It's beaver. Pretty hard still. Let me get a couple bucket loads of this Rehydrate. I'm going to just put it in there. As far as the amount of liquid inside your machine, some people, you know, they say, well, you don't need very much because it tumbles the hides in the liquid, so you don't have to worry about filling it up very much. But since we're not pressurizing it at this point to be able to force the liquid in, I like to put just a little bit more. This is their bigger tank as well. It's not the stainless steel version of it, but it is the bigger tank. Let me get you up over here a little bit closer so you can see inside. There's the inside. Let's check it out in there. There you go. You can see the liquid level a little bit, I think. Over there, it's just a little under halfway. Well, yeah, it's not quite halfway. Maybe a third of the way full here. We're gonna run it. Let me back up the camera a little bit. Move you off to the side just some here. Get it down. We're gonna put the lid on the door, or the door on here. So the door is just basically, you can use bolts or nuts, I mean, on here, and that's what I'm gonna switch to. But for right now, I got some wing nuts, and it's got this gasket here on the door. You kind of just turn it in here, get it up in there sideways. Because it takes a little finagling to get it in. Just go ahead and put a washer on these. Start the wing nut. Eventually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an impact, and I'm going to get rid of these wing nuts. I originally thought the wing nuts were going to be a good idea, but then I found out that you have to tighten it down a lot more than you can by hand with a little wing nut. So it'd be a lot better to just be able to use maybe a small low torque impact gun and a regular nut on here. Right now what I'm doing is I'll get them tightened up pretty good with my fingers, and then I'll turn around and use a adjustable wrench to finish tightening. And sometimes it still leaks even a little bit after that. So that's why I'm thinking that, like I said, we'd like to get maybe a impact on here, not run them down super hard, but get them down there good enough. All right, that. Tighten that one up. Tighten this one up. Bottom one here, you can still see a good gap in there. So we're gonna just tighten this all up. I want that gasket to seal really good, especially if you're pressurizing it. You definitely need to get that gasket tightened up, or you'll leak all your air right out. Or what'll happen is the air will push the water or your Rehydrate solution inside right out through any little gaps. So, all right, there we go. We're pretty snug. I got a extension cord here. This extension cord has a GFCI on the end of it because we're dealing with liquids. And then what I like to do is I bring it over here and I hang it up high, so that way it stays up there. Can you see all that? Yeah, there you go. So what I'm gonna do here is these come with a timer. So I'm gonna set this timer for about 2 hours, and I'll check, and then I'll probably check it. And then if it needs to go a little bit longer, then I will adjust it from there. But it can go all the way up to 12 hours, and then you got a hold setting. The most I've ever ran it one time before is probably 4 hours at a time. And all you have to do is you can just unplug it to stop it, and then you can actually just drum. You can grab it and you can just rotate it wherever you need it to go. So you have your lid up, or in this case, we'll have our lid down later when we drain it out. And what we're gonna do is we'll put a tote underneath it so we catch all of our liquid, because we don't want to dump it on the ground out here. We want to dispose of it properly in a drain so it can be treated. So, all right, I'm gonna set this for a couple hours. It just automatically starts turning. It's very, very quiet, as you can hear. And we'll just leave this out here for a couple hours. It'll just get all the sides all nice and worked up and everything, and relieve all those harder spots. It just kind of massage everything, get everything just moving around a lot better. And we'll have some softer hides to shave later. So there you go.